Yo, what's going on, everybody? You're watching Giants Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green. We got some breaking news here. Day 3 of NFL free agency. The Giants were pretty quiet. Added a swing tackle, the second one of this free agency cycle. And Joe Schoen, you can tell, is making an effort to go out and improve this offensive line. We heard they were in deep contract negotiations with Will Fries, who signed a major deal with the Minnesota Vikings. Unfortunately, the Giants didn't land him, but they're making big efforts to improve the offensive line. We got some breaking news. Greg Van Roten, the starting right guard from last year for the Giants, he is returning on what is expected to be a one-year deal. And this is a good move for multiple reasons. And we're going to break that down on today's show. And I'm going to tell you why this move might parlay into a bigger move for the New York Giants on the offensive line. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel, though. We've been live for over 26 hours now over the last 3 days, breaking down Giants free agency from every possible angle. And my promise to you guys is this. When breaking news happens, we're going to get you guys a video. Whether we're at the house, whether I was literally about to sleep before this news broke, we're going to get you guys a video. So subscribe, turn your notifications on, give us a chance. If you don't like the show, you can unsubscribe. Alrighty, Greg Van Roten returning to the New York Giants. Again, this is a good move for multiple reasons. First is, he's a productive offensive lineman in this league. I thought he played at a decent level at that right guard spot. Greg Van Roten was the furthest thing from the problem with the Giants' offensive line. One, he played every single game. He was available. He was dependable. And I thought he played at a pretty serviceable level. The Pro Football Focus grades suggest that he was just average, but I'm going to trust my eyes on this one. Is he the most dominant right guard in the NFL? No. But is he someone that can hold his own and he can be a part of a group that is successful? Absolutely. But this is also a move that adds more versatility to this Giants offensive line. Greg Van Roten pretty much started the entire season at that right guard spot. But remember when John Michael Schmitz got hurt? It was actually Greg Van Roten who slid to the center spot. And his ability to play multiple positions makes him that much more valuable of a piece to this football team for a couple of reasons. One, if he is a backup, he puts pressure on John Michael Schmitz to be a much better football player than he has really been in his NFL career, especially if the New York Giants go out and sign a big fish at right guard, who we're going to talk about in a little bit. If Greg Van Roten slides to the backup right guard spot, he's also going to be your backup center, and he can very easily slide and replace JMS. I thought he played at a pretty good level in those ball games. And adding a depth piece like Van Roten, a player the Giants have confidence in playing and starting at multiple positions, it makes me a lot more comfortable going out and taking a major swing at that right guard spot with the biggest fish left on the pond in Teven Jenkins. Teven Jenkins is one of the better interior offensive linemen in the National Football League. He's one of the better run blockers in the NFL. In 2022, his run blocking grade was 82.2, fifth overall of all guards. The following year, 71.7, 13th among all guards. And this past year, 74.3, 20th among all guards. He brings a physicality to your offensive line. The Giants, I thought, were solid before the injuries last year as a pass blocking team. I didn't think they really moved people on the offensive line. Teven Jenkins is a guy that can do that. And you might be asking, well, Marshall, why don't we just go out and sign him? Because Joe Schoen lives by the mindset of you got to be smart, tough, and dependable. And I do think Teven Jenkins is extremely smart. I also think he's very tough. Unfortunately, he has not been dependable in the sense of being able to stay durable. In his NFL career, he saw himself really be taken off the tracks of success due to injuries. He was supposed to be a first-round pick coming out of Oklahoma State. But he had a back injury coming out, and he slid to day 2. Then in 2021, he played in just 6 games. In 2022, he played in 13 games. In 2023, he played in 12 games. And in 2024, he played in 14 games. But I don't really think that paints the entire picture of what I mean when I say he's not all that dependable. Only playing 55.7% of the snaps in 2022, despite only playing 13 games. So he didn't miss that many games, but he missed 45% of the snaps in 2022. In 2023, he played in 12 games, but he only played in 64.7% of the snaps, where he also played 64.9% of the snaps last year, despite only missing 3 football games. In his entire career, he's played 45 of 68 games, but he's only played in 49.9% of the offensive snaps. And it's injury after injury after injury for Teven Jenkins. He just always finds a way, it seems like, to see himself on the injury report. And for a coach and a GM that are on the hot seat, they probably don't want to have to depend on somebody like that. But he's the best available right guard on the market by a good bit at this point. And you don't necessarily have a slam dunk at that right guard spot. Greg Van Roten can be that. And I think if you have a healthy offensive line of Andrew Thomas, John Runyon, John Michael Schmitz, Greg Van Roten, and Jermaine Illuminor, you can be a top 17, 18 offensive line in the NFL. But if you want to take a chance with some cap space you have, go out and give Teven Jenkins a 2-year deal. Have him come play here. If he's healthy, it's going to look like one of the best deals in free agency. If he's not healthy, you at least have a solid contingency plan for Greg Van Roten to be that guy. So I love this move for multiple reasons. 1, he could play and he could start as a right guard. 2, he could play center and right guard. And 3, he gives you legit depth if you want him to be a backup to where you could go out and swing on a guy like Teven Jenkins. You can go out and take a big swing at 34 if a guy like Trevor Booker from Alabama falls to pick 34. It just gives you a lot more options, and it's nice to see, even if he is a starting right guard for you and the Giants don't make any other moves, I still like it. I wish they would have swung a little bit bigger. But overall, you could see Joe Schoen is making an effort, which I appreciate, to improve the offensive line. He signed two swing tackles so far, neither of which are world beaters, but you're at least applying resources to those positions, and it looks like you have a plan. Make sure we have multiple options as a swing tackle. As we know, Andrew Thomas is coming off a serious foot injury, and even though he's expected to be healthy, he is a somewhat injury-prone player. So you're building up the swing tackle spot. You're bringing back Greg Van Roten. Rumors are out there that Evan Neal's moving to right guard. You have Josh Azudu as a left guard. I'm not saying he's the best backup left guard, but you still have him there. So you have 2 swing tackles, and hopefully Greg Van Roten slides into a backup offensive lineman role here, and Giants go out and take a swing for Teven Jenkins. That's what I would do. I like it. But you still need a quarterback. You got to go out and get one. What I've made of the Aaron Rodgers stuff is nobody knows. And I don't know when we will know. Russell Wilson has a meeting with the Giants on Friday. Maybe we get an answer then. Make sure you're subscribed. Turn those notifications on. Because when news breaks, we get you guys a video. And if you know, you know. Give me a shudders down in the comments.